Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the FMP Brekkie. This morning we have on offer a breakfast buffet of experts where you can pick and choose what you need to make your business more successful. Please welcome to the master of the microphone and the brain of Brainstorm, Ms. Jacki Mitchell.
Good morning, good morning. Again, so glad you could join us today to help you take care of your business with the best in the business in Australia. We cover popular business topics today. We're covering marketing, finance, sales, technology, branding, social media, and trends in the business world. Business is going through unprecedented change at the moment, and we'll discuss many ways to take care of your business in the 21st century. So today, ask questions and get answers. And firstly, I'd like to introduce Toby Travanner. This is a bit like Miss World. Toby.
Hello everyone. Hello Jacki.
Hello. Toby is he likes sunset walks along the...
I do, sunset walks.
Toby is a people and technology strategist. What does that mean, Toby?
Look, a lot of time it's about understanding how people are influenced and how technology now is playing a large part about that. I'm not a geek, but I talk with a lot of geeks and understand how to make sometimes what the technical feels like something that we can use on a day-to-day basis.
Our next panellist, you heard him before, Warrick Merry, the Get More guy. And Warrick is a master of sales. Now, if you go onto Wikipedia and you Google Voice of God, I'm not kidding, Warrick's name is there.
Thank you very much.
I am not, it's true.
It's true. It's true.
It's true. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Hi, everybody.
Yeah. So Warrick's a master of sales, and you're known as, besides the Voice of God, the Get More guy.
Correct.
What do you get more of?
Whatever you want. And seriously, it's whatever you want, because too many people in life don't know what they want. A lot of people I talked about in sales, but also is success. And the first step of understanding what success is knowing for yourself what is success. Because there's a lot of people who say, oh, I want to spend more time with my family, but just keep doing a whole lot of business work, and they haven't made the choice of one or the other. And there's no right or wrong, it's choosing. For some people, success is counted in dollars. Awesome. For others, it's counted in family time. For others, it's counted in cars. For others, it's counted in number of houses they've got. Everyone's different. So it is about understanding what is it that you're really after, and then having a plan in place to go for that.
Wonderful. Great to have you here. I'd like to take a seat. Our next guest, this will take us the whole hour if I don't hurry up, is considered the Mr. Wolf of marketing communications, Mr. Darren Woolley. If you'd like to welcome Darren to the stage. Darren is a global marketing thought leader. He is CEO of Trinity P3, which is a global agency. He's just got back from London looking at opening an office there. Darren, little birdie told me.
Yes, we had a very good meeting in London, and in fact, it looks like it could be happening next year.
It's fantastic. And Darren is also the chairman of the Australian Marketing Institute. So Darren is right on the pulse of what's happening in the world of marketing, not only in Australia but also globally. So that's why he's considered a marketing thought leader. And he's always sort of in the top 10 most influential thinkers in Australia in the marketing field. So great to have you here, Darren.
And originally from Frankston, so...
He is,
coming
yes.
home.
Yeah. Good work. Yeah. He's a Frankston, and you went to Sorrento Primary School as well, I heard.
That's right, Sorrento Primary School, Frankston High.
Frankston High, there you go. Okay, our next guest is our finance expert. We couldn't have a business show without a finance expert, and this is one of the best. Alex Jamieson, please make him welcome. Alex is one of Australia's leading financial planners. He's also a public speaker and a journalist. And writes a lot and thinks a lot about... You live and breathe finance.
Very much so, yeah. It's something that it's all boots in.
Were you always like that? Like when you were a kid? Were you like reading the Fin Review?
You know...
instead of Noddy and Big Ears?
At 15, most of my mates were out kicking the footy with the dad. My dad was teaching me value investing and the merits of economics, so it pretty much was instilled in a very young age.
So your dad was involved in that field as well?
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, well that's going to have a huge influence.
Yeah.
And you're still passionate about it? You don't feel like you were sort of of pushed into that area from your dad, or do you feel
Look,
like...
it's a very exciting area. There's so much change going on, and for a small business perspective, there's huge opportunities as well. So I find it really thrilling.
Are we heading into another recession?
Look, it's business cycles happen every 7 to 10 years. That's the average sort of cycle that you see that occurs. So you would expect in the next sort of few years, it's probably likely one may turn up on the doorstep. The thing though is, it always turns up when no one expects it. So if everyone's talking about it on the media, it's probably likely it won't show up.
That's it, if you'd like to take a seat there. And we couldn't do a business show in this day and age in the 21st century without covering social media. And I'd like to welcome Jessica Humphries from Social Concepts. Jessica is a social media specialist and she does a lot of work down here on the Peninsula, and she specialises in helping small business, Jessica.
Yeah, good morning everyone.
Yeah, good morning. You also do lecturing as well.
Yeah, that's right. So I lecture in PR and social media at Federation University at the moment.
And talking to Jessica, we were talking about her business and what her challenges are. And one of your challenges is that people don't take what you do seriously.
No.
Is that true?
It is, and it's funny when I think about it. This job did not exist 10 years ago, 15 years ago. When I was at university, social media wasn't a huge part of what I studied. And I was saying to Jacki just the other day, it's funny when I meet people at networking events, they go, "Oh wow, do you just play on Facebook all day?" And that is definitely not what we do.
Yeah, so social media can be used for business.
Yes, absolutely.
We do have some people who don't agree it can be used for business. We're going to find out if it's useful or not, or should it stay social? Because it's not called business media, let's face it.
That's correct.
It's called social media. So we're going to see if it can be used for business or not. But if you'd like
Thanks,
to
Jacki.
take a seat. And we're going to get started now. And I was thinking, how do we start this? And I've gone, business trends. Business, as I said earlier, is going through unprecedented change. So I'm wanting to look at what's happening right now. What is a trend in business that's happening right now? And Darren, Woolley, I'd like to start with you from a marketing perspective. I suppose I've reverted to my comfort zone as a marketer. What is the trend in marketing now from a business perspective? Is it still putting an ad in the local paper, or is it social media, or is it still TV? Is TV still relevant from an advertising perspective?
Well, look, absolutely, television still has a place for major advertisers as a way of getting awareness. But in fact, the game today is all technology and it's all digital driven. And in fact, the latest facts or statistics show that companies will be spending, the marketers will be spending more money on technology than the IT department. So in big organisations, the marketers are now the biggest investors in technology because the technology platform is the best way, the most efficient way of engaging with your customers.
I'd actually go so far as saying now, this is kind of my bag, that technology strategy is now driving business strategy. And I'll go so far as saying that if you're not listening to what's possible today, you may be missing out. It's very easy to get, we're hearing about digital disruption in the information age. And a lot of commentators are talking about the fact that it'll have a greater impact to human life, humanity, than the Industrial Revolution did. And when we think about it now, a lot of the businesses that are now literally globally dominant weren't really in existence 5 years ago. So if you think of Uber, Airbnb, Facebook's probably 10.
But they're actually marketing solutions, not just business solutions.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where the big shift's been, is that technology was in the past in the IT department and about operations. Now technology is about building businesses by using it to build a customer base.
In comment to what Darren was speaking about, I'm not going to come up with that idea unless I know that the technology is possible and it has actually a business impact to it. I'd be interested to know how the digital media side of things, though, and what you were saying with Darren before, is how that can actually affect how we advertise and market ourselves. Because I've been talking about productivity rather than the gaining of business.
And that's right. Technology applied to creating growth is the real big game changer. The reference you made before, Airbnb, Alibaba, Uber, are all technology companies, but where the marketing comes in is that they've identified an audience and used technology to create a product that the audience wants, and that's where growth comes from. Efficiency is the path you take when you stop getting growth. Efficiency is about increasing margin out of the existing size of the business. But the big opportunity for every business in this room is to use technology for growth by actually using it to create a customer base aligned to your brand and business.
Now, Darren, if I had no money, I'm a small business, a micro business, and I had no budget for marketing because I'm struggling, what advice would you give me running a business? Oh, Darren, I've got no money, I've got no budget for marketing. What can I do to help promote my business with no budget?
Well, Jacki, we both know the first thing you need to do is get a strategy. And the strategy has to be based on where your business is at the moment and where you want it to be. And this is the biggest mistake people make with advertising and marketing, is they start spending money before they even have a plan on what they want to achieve. So the first thing is get a strategy, and the strategy will inform you about what you should be doing. Is it PR? Is it advertising? Is it events? Is it social media? Is it digital advertising? What is it? And that will be based around who your core customers are. The thing that's never changed about business is it's all about the customer. It's just that what we have now are tools that allow us to reach more customers more cost effectively and engage with them than ever before.
There's a question here that's come from the audience that says, we've been talking about marketing. What about good old-fashioned sales and word of mouth?
Yeah, well, that's really important, and I'll refer to the master of sales.
It's enough of that title, thank you very much. Very interesting. I'm going to talk about how do you cut through. And it's really simple. It's just doing that little bit extra. For example, let's say you're going to a networking breakfast. Let's say you're going to a networking breakfast at a race course. What's one thing that you could do to stand out? Wear a fascinator. Now, straight away, I've gone, how cool. It's a fascinator. Like, it's sort of on brand for the event, and it's just a little thing that stands out. And if you think about the mass number of messages there, and if you're anything like me, I have turned all notifications off on all my technology. Because I don't need to know that someone else has just eaten a carrot or whatever else is going on. It is about, for me, taking control over what do I want. My calendar runs my day, not the demands of everybody else. But to stand out, it's just doing that little thing different. And if you consider your competition, it's easy. If you just deliver on what you promise, you're miles ahead. This is the issue with marketing that I have, is so many marketing ads are out there telling you how good they are, and then your experience doesn't match up.
Yeah.
Think about the number of banks who are saying, we're fantastic and we deliver. And you ring up and say, can I get a loan? Nope.
So it's about being authentic.
It's about being true to yourself and your brand. So yeah, definitely authentic, but it's delivering your commitments. It really is. Good sales is just doing the basics well. Let's not get too carried away with all the special fabulous things you can do. Just do the basics really, really well.
Do price wars work? Because you see the price wars going on.
No, but Darren has something he really needs to say.
Oh, Darren, you're busting.
Look, it's interesting that you raise that, because I think many people make the mistake of thinking that sales, marketing and advertising are all the same thing.
Oh, I was going to ask you
right?
this.
And,
this is
and
great.
the first thing is that everyone says sales and marketing. I have a fundamental problem with that. It's actually marketing and then sales. Because chronologically, that's the order it goes in. And the second thing is that there is only one strategy, and that is the business strategy, which feeds everything else.
Yeah, but your marketing strategy isn't successful unless I go out and actually close the deal.
But it's just purely creating the
Who
base.
are the sales guys in the audience here? Yeah, right.
And they should be aligned, except that there is a basic conflict between sales and marketing. Marketing is about creating desirability. Sales is about maximising revenue. Now, marketers will tell you that the best way of maximising margin and opportunity is by actually being exclusive. Salespeople will want more variance and lower prices or more flexible pricing. Marketers will tell you that if you want to be successful, you need to make sure your product is and service is desirable enough that people will pay a premium. There is no point being in business to buy or create something for $1 and sell it for $1. That's called sales. Buying something for $1 and selling it for $10, that's called marketing.
So if you can have a look around and you can see a gap in the market, so you've got customers asking for something that they can't get, that's filling a need, and that's much easier from a marketing perspective.
which is where your business strategy comes in. Why are you in business in the first place?
What's
to
the
fulfill a
gap?
need that will end up making profit.
Yeah. Now, I must say, Warrick, finishing off with your comment earlier, I'm not going to let it go by. I did pick up on it, I don't know if anyone else did, about his comment about the carrot eating thing on social media. You're not a fan of social media, are you?
Nope. No,
Why?
It's a great way to waste your day. Because particularly like small to medium business, I don't know about you, I'm busy trying to get a sale, deliver a sale. I don't have time to sort of be going, oh, by the way, look at my lunch and I've just been to the toilet.
So
and here we are now.
if I search hashtag FMP Brekkie,
I only do
Darren
it to promote the
Woolley,
show.
now social concept, so Jessica's done it, then it
Jessica.
goes Warrick Mary, Warrick Mary, Warrick Mary, Warrick Mary.
Okay, fantastic. So then look at my Twitter feed and look at when was the last time I put something out on Twitter before this morning. So don't get me wrong, social media to me is like fire. It's a brilliant tool, but a poor master. And there are too many people who are trying to run their business by social media because it's free. It's not free, it costs you your life. And, but no, it's like, but people do
Or
that
it's given a life to somebody like
Give a laugh, he goes, oh, you must have fun on social media, dear. But seriously, it's like, if you're not in control of your social media, it will control you. And I know so many business owners and some of my mentoring clients who have just like, oh, but I've been doing this. And like, you see their eyes hanging out because they're like, well, I'm social media, I've got a group and a page and I just don't know what to know, I haven't got any money.
Does social media, is that more important than a website?
I do not think it is. I really don't. I think Jacki and I were discussing this recently. John Loomer, who is a Facebook expert in America, he said this great quote that's always stuck in my head. It's the same one that you use in real estate, you know, don't build your house on rented land. You don't own your Facebook presence, you don't own your Twitter, you don't own your Instagram.
Or LinkedIn.
Or LinkedIn, you don't own any of it. And we've just seen significantly, I'd say in the last 18 months in particular, organic reach declining rapidly on Facebook, which has been very challenging for a lot of businesses who rely heavily on a Facebook presence. So I'm really insistent that businesses have a website because that's yours, you own that. Social media will change. It's still important. I think you should be in both spaces, but it should not replace a website.
Between 2013 and 14, so we're waiting for the latest research to come out, it showed that browser access to websites went down by 1% on computers, went down by 1%, went up by 27% on phones and tablets. So the average person now is going onto their phone or their tablet to search information.
So if you've had a website for your business built, say, 4 or 5 years ago,
Or
it's
even 3 years
even
ago.
3 years ago, highly likely it hasn't had that mobile-enabled functionality to it. So from today, if that's the case, go back, speak to your developer, whoever did your website, make sure it is mobile-enabled if Google's search engine is important. So if people are going onto Google, putting in, looking for your business, looking for whether it's a service or a product for your business, Google will always reward websites higher than social media.
This is what I was saying before, is it's important to have a strategy. You know, we could sit here as experts and say, well, sales is important and technology and social media. And as business people, and finance, well, finance is important because that is the starting, the middle and the end. You know, the starting point is, what do I want my business to do? How am I going to measure success? Then you get the strategy on how you're going to do it. This is not a checkbox. You know, don't think that just sit there going, oh, website, I've got a website. Social media, I've got social media. Technology, I've got technology. This is not how you build businesses. You build businesses by creating customers. This is what marketing's about. Who is my customer and what do they want? I see far too many businesses take a small amount of financial resource and sprinkle it across 20 or 30 different activities and do them all badly. The most successful businesses pick 4 or 5 things and they do it really well. Now, whether that's a website, that's your strategy. If it's going to be a website at the centre of your business, if it's all going to be sales-led and you don't do anything else, that's your strategy, but you have to make sure that that's linked to your customer. The customer is the person that's going to create revenue, and you have to think about your level of investment is what is that customer worth to you. You know, I see far too many marketers or businesses talk about, well, our budget is what we spent last year plus 6%, plus 7%. And I say to them, what is this marketing worth to your business as far as maintaining the business you've got and growth? and then work out the 5 things at the most that you're going to do with that budget. It could be social media, it could be something else, but
and
one
of the questions that people need to ask is, where are my customers? So if, for example, your customers are all based here on the Peninsula, then having some global reach is less relevant. But the leader newspapers, one of our table people here today, that is the newspaper that people will read. Unlike the nationals, people don't read them much anymore, but the local paper, people read that kind of stuff.
Keep going, RPPFM.
Yeah. It becomes your choice. I know a friend of mine went to an orchid place down here in the Peninsula, and she knocked on the door and hung around the counter, and the guy came out 5 minutes later and said, "I'm really, really sorry, our business has changed so much." And she said, what do you mean? She says, 98% of our business is now shipping orchids overseas. So I don't have a local presence anymore. But that's a choice you make and part of the strategy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jessica, when should a business advertise on Facebook, and does it work?
It does work. I guess I can't stress enough, as you were saying before, Darren, about strategy. Strategy is so important, and for some reason, even if businesses have a small amount of strategy in other areas, when it comes to social media, it's often, wow, I need to post today, and there's not much thought process that goes into that. And it's the same with advertising. They think, oh, I'm just going to boost a Facebook post, I'll chuck $10 on it. But really, what do you want to achieve out of that? And I think now, particularly if we're looking at Facebook advertising, for example, there's so many different objectives. You can advertise an event, get conversion tracking, website clicks, post reach. You can even get app installs. So there's so many different things that you've got access to. I think if you want to invest in Facebook advertising for a business, and I get this question a lot, should I do boosted posts versus paid ads? And there is a slight difference. If you want to boost a post, you're boosting content that is on your page. And that's about keeping engagement within Facebook, within that platform. And obviously, because you're keeping it within the platform, it's going to be a little bit more of a cost-effective option. If you want to send people away from Facebook to your website, for instance, then you might be looking at more traditional advertising, where you're developing an ad and some copy to accompany that for website clicks. And it's going to cost a little bit more because you're taking people away from Facebook.
Question here that says, and I think we're answering it at the moment, mass marketing is not achievable for local business, so what social media tips can you do to have penetration at a local level? So it's interesting, isn't it? How do we do social media locally?
The fantastic thing about paid advertising, and if we're still on Facebook, you can target so specifically to people within 10 kilometres of the Mornington racecourse who are interested in long walks on the beach, business, finance, and like horse racing, who are aged between this bracket and this bracket, went to this university, they like that Facebook page. There's so many targeting options. Again, when we're looking at cost, obviously the more targeted your audience is, the higher it's going to cost you potentially, because there's stronger leads. But from a local level, there's so much that you can do because you're just targeting people within this area. You don't have to create this global presence that I think you were mentioning before, Warrick.
The point that's come through, though, is we're doing a lot of business to consumer. What about business to business marketing?
Yeah.
All right, what are your thoughts on that? And can we be using these sorts of media platforms to be able to do that as well?
Talking about Facebook, a lot of the business to business, you wouldn't use Facebook. I mean, like LinkedIn is probably a more appropriate approach.
And Twitter.
The platform I like the most, business to business, the telephone.
Yeah.
It's a cracker because everyone else is going, let's do the free stuff, because I don't actually have to call anyone, because I don't want the confrontation, because they might say no. But you call on the phone and you have a nice friendly conversation, and have a coffee is the liquid of business. The one sales tip I will give you, smile. Whether you're on the phone or face to face, smile. I am sick of salespeople who look like they just don't care whether you live or die.
Alex, I have to ask you some finance questions. One of the biggest problems or challenges in small business is cash flow. So what are some tips of how a business can help improve their cash flow?
Like it's hearing all these guys speak, they're all going, you should be doing this, should be doing this, should be doing this. Sometimes with a business that's battling for cash flow, the first question is, that all sounds great, guys, but I've got no money. And so really, I think it's with cash flow, it's understanding where your business is. Are you struggling, or are you growing so quickly that you're consuming so much cash? And so if I look at the bucket that's struggling, two things that you probably need to look at. The first one is there's a guy called Warren Buffett, one of the richest guys in the world. He's teamed up with a private equity group called 3G Capital. They went out and bought these old, sluggy businesses. And so what they did is they wanted to create cash flow. So essentially they got the balance sheet, got the profit and loss, and went through everything, every single item. Now, normally when you do that and it's your business, what you first of all say is, oh, we can't do that because. If you go through that exercise with, we can't do that because, you're wasting your time. You won't get any innovation. What you're looking at is looking at each one of those items and saying, how can we do this faster, smarter, quicker? How can we think outside the box? How can we invert the idea to look at it differently? And so by doing that, what you do is you actually find is there's probably a little bit of slack in that business. The other thing that you do is then when you look at that cash flow, what you do is you think, what are the levers that I can pull in my business to drive sales? What are the things that are going to put money in the front door? And that's really important. But sometimes that requires a budget as well. And so what you need to think about is, okay, I'll give you an example. We wanted to do an animation film for our business, an education piece that we could send out to our database so they'd understand. We didn't want to throw a lot of money at it because the idea we didn't think was going to work. And we thought if we went to somebody, it would probably cost us between $1,000 to $10,000. One of the guys in the office said, hey, have you looked at Fever? It's a really great platform, a whole bunch of technology ideas and ideas there that you can leverage off. It cost us $15 to do the animation video. And then if I wanted a voiceover, it would have cost me another $15. And so really you've got to start thinking about, okay, this is what we're trying to achieve. Is there a smarter, faster, quicker way using technology to get advancements from it?
Now, I've got a finance question for you. Most businesses I speak to, you start talking about finance, the eyes glaze over, and they go, you need to speak to the accountant or the bookkeeper. As small to medium business operators, what's the bare minimum we need to do to actually understand our own financials and our own financial position, and how often should we do that?
Look, the old days it used to be you'd go and see your bookkeeper at the end of the month. They would then do your bookkeeping and then hand you back a bit of financials that you had no idea. The reality is this is the lifeblood of your business. If you don't understand what the numbers are saying, then you can't make marketing decisions, you can't make sales decisions, you can't make growth decisions around it. So what it is understanding cash in and cash out. How much cash is coming in the door, how much cash is coming out. The great thing with technology these days is you can know that readily available instantaneously.
Yeah, so Xero, MYOB online, they're all subscription-based models that don't cost a lot of money and allows your finance to be, they use gaming-based interfaces. So you've got dashboards and you can tell immediately how much money's coming in. You link your credit cards to it, your bank accounts to it. And as a business owner, I'd rather be able to just grab my phone or my tablet and go, oh yeah, cash flow's looking okay this week. The money's coming from those 3 invoices and not have to log online. I can see it immediately.
But plus also you can then make business decisions. Hey, sales are a bit slow at the moment. I can see that the cash flow on the top line numbers aren't coming in. What do we do now? This is what we've got available.
What's your prediction of business?
So the outgoing Cisco CEO recently gave a presentation. He said in the 60s and 70s, Fortune 500, so the biggest companies in the world, used to have a life expectancy of 67 years. Today, the life expectancy is 15. Now that's a reason for either mergers and acquisitions or you're a dinosaur and you're not innovating. So when you think about your business as well, you need to be thinking about that 15. It's really at a point now where it's innovate or die.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And also pearls of wisdom is something we often finish the show with. So Jessica, I'd like to ask you, what's your pearl of wisdom you'd like to leave everyone with today?
My pearl of wisdom is going off the back of what we've discussed is strategy. Approach your social media strategically, know what your objectives are, where your audience is, who you're trying to target, and really put together a concrete strategy.
Yeah.
Great. Darren, Woolley, your pearl of wisdom?
Look, there's two things in business. One is marketing and the other is innovation. Everything else is a cost. So invest in marketing, get innovation right in your business, and just minimise the cost of the rest of it, and you'll be successful.
It's interesting, when budgets are cut, marketing's quite often the first part of the budget to be cut, isn't it?
And I include sales in marketing because I see it as a subset of marketing.
Subset.
It probably is, Warrick. We're a subset now.
Toby, a quick pearl of wisdom?
Look, for me, it's whatever idea. I have a saying which is the half-life of a good idea is 5 days. And for the non-techos in the room, half-life is often used as a term for radioactivity. I use it as a point of how long it takes something to become half as strong as it is today. Half-life for a good idea is 5 days. So if you've got a good idea, start working on it in a working week. Otherwise, it'll be half as strong the next week, a quarter the following week, an eighth. And after a month, it's gone. I bet you've all had good ideas, not only today, but through the history of running a business. If you act on it quickly, it doesn't mean you have to complete it. Just start on it, and you'll get the benefit. And as Warrick said before, if you do that, you're probably not ahead of 90% of your competition because they're just not doing anything. Do it rather than think about it.
Warrick, Mary, your perler?
My perler. So what I would suggest to you, this is beyond just business, is have fun. The Minister of Fun once said to me, if it's not fun, don't do it. If you have to do it, make it fun. Think about, the media the marketing that really works, the social media that really works, it's fun. It's probably a cat video smashing a drink off a desk or something, and everyone's watching it, and then proudly sponsored by Telstra. So have fun, enjoy. Life's fatal, no one gets out alive, so have fun, enjoy the journey.
And my pearl of wisdom is about change. As humans, talking to professors, neurologists and social intelligence psychologists, change is always quite fascinating because as humans, as species, we don't embrace change easily, and some are a bit more resistant than others. But they said something to me that stuck with me about change is gain, not loss. Because why we resist change is we fear it. Because we fear we're going to lose something, whether we lose some material aspects, some wealth, relationships, but actually just sort of flip the mindset around and look at it as gain. And I think that's a nice little mantra as we move forward into this 21st century, which change is happening so fast. It's the fastest change ever. So it is challenging. I'd like to thank our panel today, Jessica Humphries, Darren Woolley, Toby Travanner, the very merry, it's his real name by the way, Warrick Merry.
Thank you very much.
And our finance guru, Alex Jamieson.
And of course, Jacki Mitchell.
Jacki Mitchell.